Hello and welcome back. I apologize for my long hiatus. I know there's millions of people counting on me to teach you how to cook and teach you how to cook well. Today we are making Spanish octopus because octopus is extremely intimidating for most people, but it's really the super easy. It's so fucking easy to do, but people just kind of get caught up in and out when they hear octopus. Um, but let's just get started. And Kyla, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but I'm probably gonna call it puss a time or two. But let's make this quick. Let's make this short. Let's not overcomplicate things. Let's get to it. Oh, but yeah. So for start off, drinking gin and tonic. I like to put a little splash of Saint Germain in my gin and tonics, which is elderflower liqueur for you uncultured swine out there who don't know. But let's get cracking. So I was at the store today and I saw a baby octopus on sale for like $2.99 a pound. And I'm like, I've never had baby octopus. Let's give that a try. So I'm like, just give me three. And it was like 74 cents. And I'm like, you know what, just fucking load it up. Let's do it up. But they also had an incredible deal on wild Spanish tentacles. So you can get tentacles or you can get a whole puss. The thing with a whole octopus is that they have beaks. So you've got the head, all the tentacles fall out. You have to reach your finger up into that head hole where all the tentacles meet the head, and you got to yank out that beak. It's literally a beak. It looks like a bird's beak. But anywho, here are my two tentacles. What we're gonna do? It's simple. You hear all these old wives' tales about people soaking their octopus in like wine corks, you beating it with a rock. But if you want to make something tender, you just fucking braise it. So my method for making octopus is just braising it till it's tender, and then typically I let it sit overnight in the fridge, and then the next day I take it out and I get. This is not the time for your nonstick pans. You want your cast iron. You want your carbon steel. You want to get that shit ripping fucking hot. Pull it out of the fridge. Throw it on a smoking hot griddle, cast iron, carbon steel, whatever it may be. And if your smoke alarm's not going off, then it's not hot enough. Um, well, that's why I don't have any smoke. Well, I do have smoke detectors, but if I had them installed 24/7, the fire department would be here every other day. So, anywho, let's get to it. This is so simple. Anyone can do it. There's no need to be intimidated by that sweet, sweet octopus. So let's put this aside for now. And since you've last seen me, so this is my favorite knife. It's ironclad, so that's why you see like that kind of like beautiful patina pattern on it. Bam, same knife right there. Isn't that beautiful? But anywho, let's run this over the steel. And let's get to it. It's like going to be super easy. We're going to have a great fucking time. We're going to have some drinks, and remember, it gets easy. It's easy to get caught up in the hoopla of things you're cooking, but you always got to remember to have a drink. So like, try to use Spanish ingredients. So what we're going to do is first we're going to create the braising liquid. So I like to start with chorizo. And not like Mexican chorizo, you want that like hard Spanish chorizo. That's almost like kind of like a well cured hard salami. I couldn't find the hardest one, so this is it's kind of like a little bit flaccid, which I'm not too happy about, but whatever. It's still Spanish style chorizo, but you got to make sacrifices where you can. So let's use fuck it, let's use two of them. So let's just cut these up into little dimes, and like, you don't need to be too precise in this method. Like, I'm not gonna go for a fucking brunoise on the onions. I'm just gonna fucking chuck it in there because it's gonna braise for a while. It's gonna make it tender. You don't need to be cute with this because you're gonna eventually really cook off all of the braising liquid, and you're gonna kind of just strain out the parts that you don't want. But first things first. Fuck a duck, that's good. Well, let's get. So I just got 2 tentacles. You want to use heavy bottom stainless steel, or if you're doing a lot of puss, you want to use, like a Dutch oven. But basically, you want a pan that you can put a lid on so you can get a proper braise going. So I'm gonna get this cranking, and this is incredible Spanish olive oil. It's so good, and I mean, it's a Spanish octopus. I'm using Spanish chorizo. I'm using pimenton, which is Spanish paprika. Just, make it Spanish. So I'm gonna start with a lot of olive oil in the pan. I know you can't see that, but just, I don't know, it's maybe like a couple tablespoons. And don't worry about like getting it to a specific heat. Just get the heat on, olive oil in. And when you're cooking, what I'm trying to do with this chorizo is kind of extract all the fat and flavor out of it, and just kind of infuse it into the olive oil. So when you do that, it's actually typically better to start at a lower heat, so the fat slowly, what's the word I'm looking for? The fat slowly, what is the word I'm looking for? Renders and infuses with the olive oil, and this will release a lot of fat, and you just want to get that base flavor going. So now let's take Spanish onion. Let's cut this root end off. Cut this end off. I mean, honestly, you don't even need to take the fucking skin off because you're gonna kind of be straining it out anyways. But I like to. I don't know. It just feels right. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Sometimes you just got to do what feels right. So I'm not going to worry about getting too cute with this. I'm just going to do one of these. That. It's just, rough chunk. We don't need to be cute because it's just going to be a braising liquid. We're just trying to extract all the flavor out of it. So let's just take that. Move this a little closer. Don't forget to have a drink. And if the video quality is a little low on this, it's because I got an iPhone 15, and they have the USB-C plugs now, which was years too late for them to finally get on fucking board, but they finally did. And my mic plugs into it's got like the lightning port for the older iPhones. So I'm using like one of my older iPhones I just had in my drawer, so I apologize if my video quality is not up to my typical standard. I know my typical standard is pretty shitty anyways because my editing skills are still fucking horrible, but look at that. See how much fat is rendering out of there? I mean, you don't really need to brown it. When we're simmering, all the flavor is going to be extracted out of here nicely. So let's just put the onions in. Don't forget the salt. Don't be afraid to be heavy-handed with the salt. Just kind of, a little shake and bake. Put that back on the stove. Garlic. I'm not going to, fuck around with this. I am just going to cut it right down the middle, just like that, skin on, whatever, who gives a fuck. We're straining it out in the pot. All right, so right now we've got the onions, garlic, the chorizo in the pot. And so pretty much, I mean, there's not many cases where you don't want to bloom your spices, because a lot of spices, um, you want to bloom them in hot oil. It really amplifies the flavor, brings them out. So once these cook up a little, you want that hot fat. Then you want to add your spices to that, because that's going to give you, it's just going to give you the best results. The best results, going to have the most flavor. So I've got pimenton. I've got smoked sweet, smoked hot, and then just regular Spanish paprika. So what I'm gonna, oh, also I'm gonna add some bay leaves in there too. Ah, fuck. I gotta refill my bay leaf jar, so I gotta go through this fucking. Oh, right on top, perfect. So let's chuck a couple bay leaves in there. Let's get this fucking thing closed. God damn it. I'll cut this out. This is kind of embarrassing. Fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. All right, let's. That's a little too high. All right, but as you can see, that's not very stable. Oh man, the smell of that is so fucking good. All right, so now let's get on to our spices. Well, first of all, take a lemon and give it a little roll, get the juices flowing. You know, when you're making puss, you want to get the juices going. And we're not going to get overly cute with this. We're just going to quarter it. You don't even need to squeeze it in the pot. Now let's take our paprika or pimenton, and let's just be fucking heavy-handed with it. Why not? Paprika is so fucking good. It's subtle, but you want to add enough. And like, I don't think I've ever overdone it with I don't think it's possible to overdo it with paprika, short of just taking a spoonful of paprika and put it straight in your gullet. So I added hot smoked paprika, sweet smoked paprika, and this is just standard Spanish paprika. And all these oils. Well, by the way, these new things I got, they're incredible. I think they're called, this guy makes them in Montana by hand. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a great fucking thing. It looks and feels kind of weird at first, but it's a great utensil to have. Very versatile. So what I'm doing right now is I'm blooming all those spices. Like right now, the smell of that chorizo, that paprika, you can even get the bay leaves out of there. And like a lot of people, they don't like, so bay leaves are kind of funny because no one knows what they really taste like, but they really do add a ton to a dish. And the best way to really get a taste for what bay leaf actually, tastes like and adds to a dish, brew a little bit, or get some hot water, steep it in bay leaves for a little bit, take a sip, and then you'll really understand why it's such a good thing and why it's so widely used across all cuisines, across all cultures, all over the world. All right, let's crank this heat. Let's toast it up a little. And then our main braising liquid is going to be, you want to use a very dry, don't break the bank for the wine, but don't buy fucking cooking wine. Cooking wine is an absolute sham. Because cooking wine tastes like shit. And if something tastes like shit, why would you put it in the food you're going to eat? You know what I mean? But like, you don't break the bank. You go to if you got like a wine store, or someone knows what they're talking about, say, hey, I want a nice dry white wine, preferably Spanish. Doesn't have to be Spanish, but you want it to be a drinkable wine because you're going to be drinking the rest of it. So what I have here is a nice dry Spanish Safi B. It's good. It's good, and it only costs I think it was $19.99. So if you're not living in Brooklyn, you could probably get it for like $12. And don't forget to have a drink either. So all right, let's see. Hold on, let's see. So you see how it's kind of sticking to the bottom of the pan? That's fine. You want that fond there, but you don't want to burn it. So now that's where we're going to go in with the white wine to deglaze it. And you're going to want to use, let's see. About, I don't know, that much. Like, not quite half the bottle. And then we're going to scrape. We're gonna deglaze, get that fond off the bottom of the pan. Should be salty enough, but I could use a little more salt. I'm not using I'm not really using any pepper here because paprika has a pretty, paprika is literally pepper, so actually, fuck it, I'm gonna add some pepper. Why not? Let's have some fun here. Pepper's never gonna hurt you. All right, so stir that up, and you can feel that the bottom is clean now from that deglazing. So now we're gonna take our puss. So here's what my puss looks like. I'm gonna cut this right down the middle, right here, so I can have kind of like two tentacles. All right, so we got our two tentacles, and we're just gonna lay them in there. Let's mix it up. All right, and also keep in mind, right now it's July 12th. Heirloom tomatoes are coming into season as we speak. So go get your heirloom tomato. Should look a little weird. Doesn't really matter what color it is, but you want you want a good amount of give to it. You want to feel like this thing is just about to explode with fucking juice. That's just a side note. So let's get that puss buried in there. And then let's fucking try to keep it clean while you're cooking. Let's take the front one off. Let's move this to the back burner. Make sure everything's nice and submerged. If it's not, you can add a little more wine, a little more water, but this is just going to be fine. So I'm just going to put this on the back burner. I'm going to put it on a very low heat. Because this is, a very low heat. We're going to cover it. And give it about an hour. So what you want it to feel like, it could be 45 minutes, could be an hour, could be an hour and a half. It just kind of, there's, variables that go into it. You want it to be like fork tender. You want to be able to easily just stick a fork in there. And once that happens, I'm making this tonight for the missus, but typically what I would do here, I would braise it till it's fork tender, and then I would take the tentacles out. I would cook down the braising liquid, like really reduce it, soak it in a bowl, keep it in the fridge overnight, let that flavor really infuse. And then when you're ready, like I said, rip it hot. Like I would use like a flat top, a cast iron, or like a carbon steel, something that can really handle high heat. And so the next day you take it out, you just fucking smack it on that super hot surface, and you want to char the shit out of that. You want that shit blackened. And you'll probably lose some skin on it, but that's fine. Let it cool after you sear it hard. Kind of slice it thin on the bias. Finish it with a little more olive oil, a little more lemon, a little parsley. Do whatever the fuck you want. It's your puss. But I'm not going to show that part because, I don't think I really need to get too into the weeds on how to create a really hot surface and lay a tentacle on it until it's black. So that's where we're at. I'm sorry for my hiatus, but I hope this video opens up your world of octopus, because it is the best thing ever, and it's widely thought to be intimidating, and really it's the easiest fucking thing in the world. You want to make it tender, you braise it, then you sear it, and people will think you're a fucking amazing chef, and it's a great feeling. And also it's just so good. But so remember, after 45 minutes, open it up, give it a little poke. You want a fork or a knife to slide in there nice and easy. And when that's done, take the puss out, put it in a bowl, reduce that liquid. Like scoop out, strain out all those, all those big chunks of onion, lemon, garlic, because the flavor's already going to be infused in there. Fridge it overnight. If that's the preferred way, I would say to do it. If I weren't making it tonight, I would absolutely prefer to do it tomorrow night, but it's still going to be amazing. So that's octopus. It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. And again, sorry for my hiatus. Good to be back. And I hope to be doing more of these shortly again soon. Thanks for joining me. Remember, don't forget to have a drink.